What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Sports Reel. Today we're looking at the craziest games in NBA history. At number 1, the King takes his throne.
It's Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Celtics and the Miami Heat. Boston with a 3-2 edge.
As you work your way through our list, you'll notice that most of the games were hotly contested matchups that weren't decided until the final moments. Well, this game was different. This was when LeBron James finally decided that he had had enough of the Boston Celtics knocking him off the playoffs, and he wasn't letting it happen again. What followed was the single best performance of his amazing career.
Pierce to Garnett, nearly stolen by Cole.
James' Miami Heat entered Game 6 down 3-2 in the series, and under enormous pressure to stop the Boston Celtics from bouncing him from the playoffs once again. At this stage in his career, LeBron had not yet won a ring, and it was beginning to look like he never would. After a close Game 5 loss, James went silent, not speaking to any teammates or coaches, singularly focused on his next outing. He carried that same demeanor to Game 6, where his expression never changed or showed emotion. He just got bucket after expressionless bucket and dominated his antagonistic opponents who had thwarted his championship effort so many times in the past. When all was said and done, he finished with 45 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists. The Heat went on to win Game 7 and ultimately won the NBA championship as well. Up next at number 2, Kobe gets number 5, Boston Celtics versus LA Lakers in 2010.
Artest, who had a good game in Game 6, misses that. Gasol already. Another second shot opportunity. Fisher.
The 2010 NBA Finals was home to familiar foes. The Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers, easily the two winningest franchises in league's history. The Celtics had never lost a Finals Game 7, and for most of the night, it looked like they never would. Surprisingly, the Lakers superstar Kobe Bryant struggled to find his touch, shooting just 6 of 24 in the closeout game and finishing with 23 points. Luckily, he got some help from Artest and Paul Gasol, reporting 20 and 19 points respectively. After a lackluster first half by the entire team, the Lakers found the rhythm in the final period of play. Midway through the fourth quarter, the Lakers tied the game at 61 on a Ron Artest three-pointer and went on to take the lead. But despite his otherwise miserable shooting night, it was not his biggest three of the game. After taking the lead for the first time since early in the second quarter, the Celtics began clawing back. The Lakers' 6-point lead dwindled to 3 before Ron Artest got the ball in the corner and launched the most spectacular shot of his career, extending the lead back to 6. This time, the Lakers were able to hold on. The franchise won their 16th championship while Kobe won his 5th and Phil Jackson won his 11th. Kobe Bryant was awarded NBA Finals MVP, his 2nd in as many years. Up next at number 3, the greatest game ever played, Phoenix Suns versus Boston Celtics in 1976.
Still, Curry in the air, won't go, Havlicek, Curry again, Curry with a jump shot, put it down. Phoenix.
Game 5 of the 1976 NBA Finals was one of the craziest games of professional basketball ever played. There were late-game heroics, 3 overtimes, several controversial calls or missed calls, and a near riot on the court. When the dust was finally settled, Boston escaped with a win, but it could have very easily gone the other way. Near the end of the fourth quarter, the game was tied at 95 apiece. Paul Silas attempted to call a timeout for the Celtics, but the team was out of them, which should have resulted in a technical foul. Had the Suns been given their technical free throw, the game may have not reached overtime at all. The game proceeded to go to OT, and by the end of the extra period, the game was tied 101-101. With 3 seconds left, John Havlicek sunk a baseline jumper just before the buzzer sounded, but it was determined the clock hadn't started until he'd already dribbled to the baseline and pump faked before a shot. With 23 seconds remaining in the second overtime, the Celtics were up 109-106 before the invention of the three-point line. The Suns scored and stole the ensuing inbounds pass, which led to another shot that put Phoenix up 1. With 6 seconds remaining, Havlicek once again shot the would-be game-winning shot basket, putting his side up 111-110. Fans rushed onto the court and began to celebrate while the players returned to the locker room. Despite all the commotion, it was discovered that there was still 2 seconds left on the clock after the final shot. One fan attacked referee, and security had difficulties clearing the floor, leading to fans interfering with the rest of the contest. Upon returning to the court and seeing they had to inbound the ball from under their own basket, the Suns called a timeout and were given a technical foul. The Celtics hit their shot, putting them up 2, but the ball was advanced to midcourt. With 2 seconds left, the Suns' Garherd inbounded the ball to Curtis Perry, who sank the jumper, sending the game to a third overtime. In the third overtime, Boston built up a 6-point lead. Once again, the Suns came surging back, bringing the game within 2 at 128-122. But this time they would fall short, and Boston would take a wild Game 5. At number 4, Fisher's .4 second shot, LA Lakers versus San Antonio Spurs in 2004.
That go down.
Wow.
Here they go. They get it to Fisher. He scores! Derek Fisher scores!
When the Lakers and Spurs faced off in the 2004 Western Conference semifinals, it was the matchup of champions from the previous 5 years. The series was tied 2-2 entering the contest, with the Lakers looking to avenge their elimination at the hands of San Antonio the year prior. Los Angeles got up big, but blew a 16-point lead in the third quarter and only managed 12 points in the fourth. In the waning moments of the fourth quarter, the Spurs were down 2 points, 72-70, on what could have been the last play of the game. San Antonio's Tim Duncan received the ball 20 feet from the basket and shot a fadeaway jumper off the dribble over Shaquille O'Neal. And probably the shot went in, putting the Spurs up 1 with only fractions of a second left on the clock. After several timeouts, the Lakers finally inbounded the ball at half court. The Spurs felt the clock started late and contested the loss, but it stood and the Lakers went up 3-2 in the series. And finally at number 5, MJ does it again, Chicago Bulls versus Utah Jazz 1998.
In the NBA.
Watch Jordan's left hand here as he gives Russell the push. The referee can't see that. Jordan frees himself.
The Chicago Bulls and the Utah Jazz met up in the finals for the second year in a row in 1998. The prior year had brought us the flu game and more Michael Jordan heroics on the way to Chicago's 5th title, and the Jazz were looking to revenge. They swept the regular season series and tied the Bulls for the best record in the NBA, finishing 62-60. The Bulls entered the game ahead in the series with a 3-2 lead. Scottie Pippen aggravated a back injury on the first play of the game, which severely limited his athleticism for the rest of the game and caused him a great deal of pain. Michael Jordan, however, was magnificent, as was Karl Malone for Utah. The Jazz entered the fourth quarter with a 66-61 lead, but the veteran Bulls squad climbed back and tied the game with a minute left. Stockton responded by hitting a clutch three-pointer, giving Utah an 86-83 point lead with just over 40 seconds to play. Jordan drove to the basket and brought the Bulls within 1 on the next possession. With just under 20 seconds to play, the Jazz had possession of the ball and control of their own destiny. But Michael Jordan had more magic up his sleeve, and he stole the ball from Karl Malone in the post and pushed the ball up the court. With the final seconds of the game ticking down, he crossed over Brian Russell and pulled up for a jumper, with Russell falling to the ground. The greatest of all time hit their miraculous shot, leaving only 5 seconds on the clock. The Jazz would get one last shot, but they would miss. MJ's game winner was his last shot as a Chicago Bull, winning his 6th NBA title and his 3rd in 3 years. Phil Jackson would also leave that offseason, marking the end of the most dominant dynasty in the modern NBA.